Alright everyone, welcome back to another review, and this time I'm going to be covering Batman and Mr. Freeze, SubZero. Let's waste no time, let's get right into it. Overall, this is a very solid movie, but at the same time it's not really all that great. I know this movie gets a lot of praise, but I think a majority of that praise is mainly because of Batman and Robin. This movie was released in 1998. About a year or so after the release of the notorious Batman and Robin. So I think the majority of praise from this movie stems from the hatred of Batman and Robin, and it's refreshing to see a Batman movie that, is actually taking itself seriously and not being a complete joke. But with that being said, the movie itself, it is, it's not the best Batman movie. I know, like I said, a lot of people like it. I like it too, but I don't give it the high praise. If you really want to be, if you really want my true, honest opinion, this movie could have worked best as like a 25-minute episode of the animated series, because this thing has a lot of fluff and not enough, character development, I should say. But it does have things I like. Kevin Conroy, Lauren Lester, and Michael Ansara reprised their roles as Batman, Robin, and Mr. Freeze from the animated series, so their performances are top-notch. Bob Hastings and Robert Costanzo come back as Gordon and Bullock. They're obviously great. The voice actress who plays Batgirl is fine, and of course, Efron Zimbalist as Alfred is always fantastic as Alfred. So yeah, terms from an acting standpoint, the movie is always top-notch. From an animation standpoint, the movie looks beautiful, and some of the CGI is really well incorporated into this movie. And for a movie that was made in 1998, that says a lot. To me, I think this movie, holds up fairly well. There are some instances where the CG does look a little clunky in areas, but overall, it overall blends in. Blends in pretty good. The time where I think the CG doesn't blend that often is the opening scene, where it just looks kind of awkward. But as the movie progresses, it looks much better. Especially during one of the best scenes of this movie, which is where Mr. Freeze... Alright, the whole overall plot of this movie is Mr. Freeze's wife's cryotank has been destroyed, and in order to save her life, she needs to have a blood transplant. But her blood is so rare that... But she has a rare blood type. So Freeze and this doctor named Dr. Belson, voiced by George Zunda, have to, find a compatible donor. And they choose Barbara Gordon, after looking her name up in the list, as that she's one of 18 people that share the same rare blood type. Just roll with it. So, Freeze kidnaps Barbara, and you get this awesome scene where Dick is doing whatever he can to, try and rescue Barbara, but he just fails. And the chase scene is so brilliantly animated, and it's a very breathtaking scene. It's a very suspenseful scene. It was done really well. The animation CG looked fantastic. And yes, the chase scene is one of the major highlights of this film. And another, solid scene is the whole scene that they have at this oil tanker, where they're trying to rescue Barbara, and the whole thing explodes because the dumbass Belson accidentally shoots a gas tank while trying to shoot up Barbara, causing the whole thing to explode. So, Batman, Freeze, and Robin have to work together to try and save themselves and to get out of there alive. So, not as good as the chase scene from earlier, but not that bad also. And again, the story itself, like I said, the brief summary I gave you, that's the whole story. And there's not really a whole lot of meat within that story. You don't really get all that into Mr. Freeze's head. He does have a couple of cool moments here and there. There's this really cool visual shot where he's walking into this dark room, and all you see is his red eyes, and it's an amazing shot. Love that shot. And that's pretty much it. This movie has some cool moments, but not a whole lot of character stuff. That doesn't mean it's bad. Like I said, the voice acting is top-notch, the animation looks great, and the action scenes are fine too. And there's also a couple of funny lines here and there. Like Commissioner Gordon has a fun line, where he's like, "A weirdo in a suit and polar bears can't be that hard to find." Funny line. Love that line. and of course, there's also this little that Mr. Freeze is also hiding out with this little kid, and their relationship is not even close to being like developed. It's like, I understand, like, give the villain a kid so that he gets some sympathy, but there's no like relationship between Freeze and the kid, so that was kind of a missed opportunity of making like Mr. Freeze act as like a surrogate father to this kid. Doesn't really say much, but and also there's a lot of instances in this movie where Batman does act out of character. Since Robin and Barbara are dating in this movie, normally Batman would like not have Robin be a part of this mission because the mission is hitting too close to home and it will cloud Robin's judgment. But in this movie, Batman just like, let's go, and doesn't even question at all, which is kind of weird because it's kind of out of character for Batman to do that, because Batman normally would like, if Batman would normally have like his partner, not help him in a mission that hits too close to home because it can cloud his judgment, and it can lead to Robin doing some stupid, foolish things in order to save somebody. So I think it's not like a major flaw, just like a little nitpick, I guess. But anyway, like we get to the whole ending, and they're trying to escape the oil rig. And Batman tries to save Mr. Freeze, but Mr. Freeze falls to his supposed doom. And of course, Batman tried to save Freeze, but he failed. But he was able to save his wife. But we get to the end. We get to the final end, and we find out that Bruce Wayne, with the power of Wayne Tech Industries, was able to like give Nora Freeze the proper blood transplant, and she's going to live. She's going to live comfortably, and I really do like the scene where Mr. Freeze sees this news report, and like you see him like finally, his cold exterior finally break down, and he's happy for once. He's happy knowing that his wife is finally going to be fine, is finally going to be able to live her life again. It's bittersweet also because he cannot be a part of her life because he is the way he is, and he's also dead. But the movie kind of like ends on a note where like Mr. Freeze is, his job is done. Like there's nothing for him to do. And I also like the touch of him having like an ice cast, because earlier in the movie he broke his leg, and the whole ice cast is a nice little touch also. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts on Batman and Mr. Freeze SubZero. Not a bad movie whatsoever. It's very, very solid. Like I said, very enjoyable, but as an hour movie, it does have a lot of padding, and they do have like a lot of filler scenes. And if you like I said, if you take all those filler scenes out and just stitch it as just a regular 20-minute episode of the animated series, this could have been a very solid Mr. Freeze episode. So yeah, as an overall ranking, I'm gonna give it a solid 7 out of 10. It's enjoyable, but it ain't great, and I would never say it's one of the better Batman animated movies, because that's a lie, because there are ones that are much better than this one. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll check you back next time for more.